couple minutes. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are going to give it a second to get everything pulled up, and then we will get going here since I don't even see it yet on my end. Let's see here.
Will it show up as a post?
Yeah, and it like notifies.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay, perfect.
Ambitious outcomes.
Delayed,
oh yeah.
Always. Okay, perfect.
I like it.
We are here. So let me know when you guys are live with us, and I need to pull it up on my end. Here we go. 20 seconds ago. Awesome. So I am super excited. Thank you guys. Okay, we have people on. Perfect. For joining us today on this special episode of Ambitious Outcomes, where every Thursday I go live to help you all carve a path for better visibility, trust, and faster growth. And today I have a very special guest joining me, Chris Walker from Refine Labs. And Chris's agency builds modern digital demand programs for B2B SaaS and tech brands that create accelerated revenue growth and better marketing ROI. Chris is amazing at LinkedIn. He has an awesome LinkedIn presence, and I have been following him for a while, and his daily videos actually inspired me to start creating these short little clips from my LinkedIn lives. I remember reaching out to Chris earlier this year and asking, telling him about his awesome videos and kind of showing him my very first little video clip thanks to him. So I am super excited to have him on with me today, you guys, and we will be talking about how you can stand out from 99% of LinkedIn users. And remember that when you guys comment and engage with us on these lives, you will be entered to win a free mini LinkedIn makeover once a month. So we will be opening it up for questions, Q&A at the end of this too. So anytime you guys have questions, feel free to chime in anyway, and we will get that going. So let us know when you guys are here. And Chris, say hello, tell people a little bit more about you, and then we'll get going.
Thanks, Mandy. Hey, everyone. My name's Chris Walker. Like she said, I own a company called Refine Labs. I started it about 18 months ago. Before that, I've worked in B2B companies in marketing, product management, demand gen, brand marketing over the past about a decade now. And my current kind of like expertise is in digital demand programs, specifically content marketing and paid social. And then organic social as well. So those are the kind of the places where I consider myself an expert, and really happy to dive into the current best place to be doing organic social marketing, which is for B2B, which is LinkedIn.
Awesome. Perfect. And that is what we are here talking about today. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Michael. Hey, John. John says, let's rock and roll. Okay.
Let's rock.
If John insists, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So again, you guys, our goal today is to help you understand what you need to do on LinkedIn to stand out from 99% of LinkedIn users. So Chris and myself are doing a lot on LinkedIn, not just for our own profiles and companies, but for our clients as well. And we want to give you some insights today into how you can better leverage LinkedIn. So this will be around 30 minutes, and then we'll open it up at the end for a little bit of Q&A if you guys have any questions or want any insights specifically from us. So let's get going. So Chris, I first want to talk about, there's just so many people abusing this platform that we call LinkedIn, right? And so many people not only abusing it, but just doing it the wrong way. So even if they're, not intentionally just spamming people, they're not doing it. They're not doing it right. So I want to know your thoughts on what are the biggest mistakes you see professionals making on LinkedIn and also companies making on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I think the first really important thing to note here is that on every platform there are a lot of people that use it the wrong way and do the wrong things, right? So whether it's email or YouTube or text right now, like I'm getting a lot of spam, unsolicited text marketing text messages, and so it happens in every channel. It's happening in LinkedIn as well. I think some of the most common mistakes people do is one, thinking that it's just like a spam place to message people. I think that's the number one. It really turns me off. And essentially, I'll just give you an example. Like I get at least one every day. I got one this morning where someone connects with you, note in the connection request that's like, hey, would love to talk to you about our development firm. Do you guys need developer help? Here we are. Let's set up a meeting, blah, 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 blah. And I don't accept the connection request. You never get a shot to connect with me again. and that's it. And I just think that people don't realize that short-term thinking that might get a meeting, but you're losing a lot in the short term too.
100%. I agree.
So that's one. Not engaging or posting content is a like sort of obvious one, but I want to take a step back and just like note that. Like, I don't know what the stat is. The last time I heard it, and I hate misquoting stats, but the last time I heard it was that only 1% of people that use the platform every week post content. And so, if the title of this is how to stand out against the 99%, all you have to do is just post once a week,
content.
And yeah, there you go.
Right. Exactly. No, it is.
I think that's it. That's all we need to talk about.
I know, right? We're done, guys. We're done. You can go home. No, it is crazy because that is true. And that's the most recent stat I found too, Chris, is 1% of LinkedIn users post consistently, right? And I'm sure it's even less if we're talking about value content. Like there's some crap out there on LinkedIn that people post consistently, but it's garbage, right? I mean, rubbish, if you will. So I feel like there's and I posted a video yesterday about, relationship capital and coming from a place of value. And I feel like the number one mistake that companies and individuals make is making it about them and making LinkedIn a bit too promotional. So they use it mainly as a sales tool and a lead gen tool and not really a relationship building thought leadership tool, right? So, okay, moving on here. Next question. If a company wants to start leveraging LinkedIn effectively to grow their brand awareness and their customer base, what's the very first thing that you feel like they need to know? Like if a company really has no clue what they should be doing on LinkedIn, they have a company page, they have a CEO, but they're not really doing much of anything at all. What do you think is the most important thing that they need to realize going into this?
And this is going to sound elementary, but I work with dozens of companies that need to figure this out as well. And all the other companies that I interact with, which is you got to understand your customers really well.
Yes.
And you need to understand what information is important to them that doesn't necessarily always include a call to action to how to buy your product or a promotional story about how good your product is. And so I think that really is the number one, is taking a step back and being like, what do these people actually care about? Exactly. And then the next step from there is, I think, building a some type of content pillar, a episodic content pillar, a podcast, a LinkedIn Live once a week, something that's on the calendar that creates a steady stream of content flow. Otherwise, you're going to write 3 times and then kind of get writer's block and then get off, and then I think it will slowly fade away. So having something that's consistent and you're able to create content on a consistent basis, I think is super important. And the last thing I'll note here is that, especially at the beginning, I would highly recommend using a personal profile of a person that is respected by the people that you're trying to reach, has the credentials or experience or expertise that the people that you're trying to reach want to know, over the company page. We use the company page now as a secondary strategy, mainly to figure it out, because I don't think a lot of companies have been able to figure it out. So we're actively looking at that. But the personal profile route if you're selling to CFOs, having it go through your CFO's profile would probably be a good idea, instead of a marketing manager or somebody else that may not have the credentials that justify the attention of those people.
Sure. Makes sense. So what are your thoughts on let's say a CEO is concerned that he doesn't want to look like he's on LinkedIn all the time, right? And he's a busy guy. And, how do you handle that? Like, I want to post content and whatnot, but if an agency's taking it over for me and these executives look like they're, playing on LinkedIn, posting on LinkedIn and engaging on LinkedIn all day, even though you have an agency helping, like, do you think that matters, or do you think it doesn't matter? You see what I'm saying? Like, some people are like, well, I don't want to seem like I'm on LinkedIn all day long because I'm so busy, working with running my business.
That one doesn't resonate with me at all. I think that it would be a good thing if you were active on there and a lot of people saw that you were on there and therefore saw your name and your company name and the things that you're talking about. It's just like, if you were a CEO and you're like, I never want our customers to know that I'm talking to you, like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Like, it's looking at a modern medium of communication and thinking that it's different than doing something else. Like if you were a CEO, you'd be proud to go and visit 5 of your customers in person, but for some reason wouldn't be proud to interact with them every day on LinkedIn. It just it doesn't make sense to me.
I agree. So in your mind, if a company wants to really succeed, and I'm kind of the same way, on LinkedIn and leverage it appropriately, there needs to be an individual, a C-level individual that is willing to, leverage their profile the right way in order to get results.
I'll drop the caveat that I don't think that it needs to be a C-level executive.
Okay.
If you're selling a sales tech tool to SDRs, like you could have 4 SDRs that produce content about being an SDR and be successful that way. Okay. And so I don't think that it needs to be a C-level person. Oftentimes it works better if you are selling to a C-suite decision maker. And so I think there's just a little bit of a caveat there.
Okay. I like that. Awesome. And on that note, there is a lot of noise, right? So I get this question a lot from people that I'm talking to, are like, LinkedIn is just crap. It's just noisy now. There's so much crap out there. There's so much spam. So how do you tell people to stand out? Like, okay, this is what you guys need to do to stand apart from all the noise that people are complaining about on LinkedIn. Here's what you need to do to actually make it work for you. What would be the number one thing you would tell them to not appear like everyone else?
I think the first point on that there's a lot of noise is that to recognize that you have control over what content gets put in there for the most part. Like if you don't like it, click unfollow. If you don't like it, click remove connection. If you don't like it, don't engage with it. The algorithm will figure it out. So like over time, I log in and the first 20 posts that I see are all posts that I'm interested in, that I would comment on and have a meaningful comment from people that I respect or would want to engage with. Mm-hmm. And so the idea that it's noisy or a lot of the content that you're seeing isn't good, it's your job to fix that. I think is the first point on that. And then what was the actual question? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I said a lot in that one. How do you stand out from the noise?
Oh, how do you stand out from the noise? To take a step back here, I think one of the key things that I do that I don't think many other people have the discipline to do is the idea that you are never thinking about selling something when you're on the platform. I've never made a post or a comment or anything saying like, I can't wait till I get a lead from this. Mm-hmm. And because the intention of that action drives the wrong behavior inside of the platform. Yes. And so I'm 100% focused on doing things that help the people that I'm trying to reach do their job better. And when that happens, more people will be aware of me. More people will tell other people about how they tried something that I said and it worked. And then therefore more people will follow me and get attention. So first step, do things that actually help people get better. Post things that actually help people get better. Oftentimes, like when I'm posting stuff that shows people how not to hire us. And there's a lot of people, and I'm just recognizing that it's an abundance mindset. There's plenty of opportunity, and it just by one person taking the information and doing something with it doesn't matter to me. I'm happy for them. The next one is consistency. Yes. And so this is going to be hard for a lot of people to get over, but on average, I probably spend 90 minutes to 2 hours on LinkedIn every day. And I feel the benefits. We generate a ton of pipeline every month consistently. A lot of that pipeline grows. It continues to scale. I have made a decision that it is worth the 2 hours of my time as a CEO. And so the consistency of the content creation in order to get it ready to post, and then actually posting it, and then actually engaging in comments with people that comment on the post. Because I believe that it's not only about the content that you post, it's about the interactions that you create from the content. When people ask questions, do you answer them? How do you answer them? When it's appropriate, do you take it offline and help someone? Do you do a Zoom? It actually becomes the depth of the relationship that drives the benefits that we're talking about here.
I agree completely. Do you have anyone helping you with your LinkedIn, like a VA or anything?
We don't. Every action that happens on LinkedIn comes through my thumbs. I do everything.
Wow. Impressive.
The content post-production and preparation happens throughout. So we'll record this podcast. The video will be recorded. When it's done, somebody else will take the video, edit it into clips, put the captions on it, put the headers on it, put it up in a Dropbox or a Drive for me. I will pick the one that I want to post. I will pull it down. I will write the copy. I will post it. I will answer all of the comments. I will accept every connection request or decline it. I will answer every message or decide not to respond. Everything inside of the platform is me. And I feel strongly that that is the correct way to do it.
I love that. And so is this your, I think I know the answer to this, but is this your main, are you drinking kombucha, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so
blood orange carrot
blood
ginger
orange?
kombucha is awesome.
That one in my refrigerator.
It's really good.
I'm kind of obsessed with kombucha. I was like, that looks familiar. Yes. So I'm gonna just assume that LinkedIn is your primary channel for business growth, leads, and prospects. Is there anything else you're doing outside of LinkedIn that is working well?
So LinkedIn is the primary. Secondary, the number 2 channel that we're doing right now is a podcast, and I almost connect them together. It's really interesting because we create the podcast, and then all the micro from the podcast becomes LinkedIn content. They feed each other. Totally. But that one, if you look at how many people are coming in to have a sales conversation with me and say where they saw or how they found out about us, number 1 is LinkedIn. Number 2 is podcast. Number 3 would be forums like Revenue Collective or Rev Genius or other things like that. Those are or a word of mouth referral, different things like that. Okay. But for the most, to answer your question directly, yes, LinkedIn is the more than 50% of our inbound flow.
And how long have you been consistently doing this on LinkedIn?
Almost every day for 15 months.
Okay.
The caveat here, I think that is interesting for people because you don't just start one day and then have the expertise on the social platform dynamics and how to create content and the post-production flow and all those different things like that. I've been doing video podcasts since 2015. Have been doing them for brands. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't the star of the show, and it wasn't necessarily about marketing. It was whatever my buyers cared about: emergency physicians, optometrists, senior living directors, whatever it was. And so, but I understood how Instagram worked from a visibility standpoint. I understood how Facebook worked. And then the social platforms are not that much different aside from who's using it and how they're using it. And so moving into LinkedIn with that foundation was very easy for me to get started. Okay.
Got it. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of how, I've been obviously on the LinkedIn platform for a hot minute now, but just recently this year, as you know, because I reached out to you, I've been super consistent, but similar to you, I've been doing Facebook Lives for the last 2 years, every single week. I've been doing webinars, I just hadn't really focused on LinkedIn, but the similarity is you and I were still in the content game, and we have been for years, right?
Yep.
And so for those people who are watching us and the companies who are watching this, how long would you say, okay, you have got to be consistent for at least this number of months to start seeing some traction if you've never really done consistent content before? What's that sweet spot of, if you do it for this many weeks or this many months, you should, finally start seeing it rolling?
I don't believe that there's a time frame. It's so dependent on who you're selling to, how good you are at it, what frequency you do it, how much time you put in. There's just I could throw out in 90 days you're going to see something, but it's just not true. It ultimately comes down to how good you are. And how good you are is inside of your control based on how much you practice and do things and try and learn and test things and all those different components. And so I'm going to defer that question. The real key in what you're asking is, to me, comes down to, would this be a better option than something else that you're doing right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way.
Somewhere else where you have resources or money or different things like that. And so to me, there's not many B2B companies that have a better opportunity to accomplish what they want than what's happening on LinkedIn Organic right now. But if you look at how much budget and time and resources are allocated to this channel, it is definitely less than 1% of most companies' overall budget and mind share.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would go and look at the other 99.5% and figure out where are the things over there that I could start to move budget to create a podcast, and then to edit the videos for LinkedIn, and then maybe to have a LinkedIn resource or a partner or someone to help me with that. I think that really is the debate, because like we don't the thing that I said when you asked is like, where do the results come from? It's like LinkedIn, podcast, referrals. Like that is pretty much all that we do.
Yeah.
Because I know that they work the best. And so at least right now, at least like as we record this, the two best things to do in a B2B company, if you can do them well, are LinkedIn organic and podcasts for a brand channel. Obviously there's ads and things like that I'm not including in there, but those are the two. And so trade shows, your Facebook thing that is not getting any traction anymore because the organic reach has completely gone down. The magazine ads that you're doing, whatever it is, there's a million things that companies are doing that are not as effective or have as much long-term upside as creating content for the internet and putting it on social platforms like LinkedIn.
I agree. So what are your thoughts? I think I just had a gnat flying at me. I was like, that was weird. What are your thoughts on, okay, do companies need to be doing videos? Do professionals need to be doing videos on LinkedIn just to really stand out? What if they don't have the resources or don't even know how to do videos? I mean, I kind of you're the video guy, right? You do way more than I do. So what if they're like, video's tough and we don't have the resources? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because I put it together in my mind when I was on a live on Tuesday night. And I was like, I'm not sure that there is another. I must be in the top 10 in the world for people that have put out video content on LinkedIn as consistently for the longest period of time in the 100%.
World. 100%. Yeah, no,
which is like crazy, crazy to say. I believe in it a lot. I believe in it for a couple core reasons. I don't know what the phenomenon is, but when people see you on video over time, they feel like they know you. Like a lot of people say that to me. You do not get that. Same. You do not get that effect in text posts.
Right.
The next one is that text posts can be copied. A lot of people copy my text posts,
good point.
Translate them into other languages, post them in the UK. And so for those two core reasons, I feel like my thoughts are quite unique and have moved to video because it cannot be plagiarized. Those are the two reasons. I think it builds depth of relationship, and that it's quite unique. The third thing is that like I never, because I'm always getting questions from people like you and recording it and different things like that, I don't need to take the time to think, oh, what am I going to write about today? I've already written about that. I've already talked about that. I've already done that. I never have that because there's 700 videos online that I can download at any time and post them when I want. And so obviously it's going to take time for people to get to that place. Like I've been doing it for 15 months. But those are some of the reasons. Like the content never gets stale because I have questions coming from people on a live session or in my DM or from stuff like you. So those are a couple of the reasons that I think video is the way to go. I think people think that it's hard. I think that it's easier than having to come up with something to write every day.
I agree. And for people like, I could sit here and so could you and talk about this sort of stuff all day long. So video is easier for me. It's the like, okay, afterwards you gotta, have someone, but if you have a team, it's not a big deal, right? But everyone's always asking me, how do you get your videos like that? And the subtitles and, how do you make them look cool and stuff? I'm like, I pay people to do that for me, right?
Yeah, and so you don't have to pay people a lot. Like when I started doing this, I think it was like a $40 an hour video editor. Like, and if you don't believe in this enough to invest, like, I don't know, whatever. Let's say you get 2 videos done in an hour. So if you don't believe in this enough to pay $20 per video, then you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, I'm always saying that, right? Like there are people out there that do things that they're great at that you shouldn't even be wasting your time on anyway, because it's going to cost you more money than $40 an hour when you're not a video person and you're messing around with it and getting stressed out anyway, right?
Yeah, but one thing that I see that holds a lot of people back on this one is the idea of perfectionism, or whatever, however they want to however they want to call it. I see it as perfectionism. I also see it as potentially insecurity, where, you know, there was a typo in the captions. Can we take it down? You know, I don't like how my teeth look in that one. Like, I'm looking at myself right now, like the lighting isn't great. I kind of have bags in under my eyes, like whatever.
Like, whatever.
I don't know what to say.
It's
I don't know
real.
what to say.
No, I think you're so right. It's a lot of this is mindset and fear, right? People are worried about what people are going to think about them, and it's not going to be good enough. And I mean, mindset is huge, especially when it comes to video marketing. So if I'm gathering you right with my original question, you think that it is by far worth it to pay someone to help you make videos?
Yeah, like you can go through and calculate. The easiest way to decide is you can calculate how much you think you should be being paid an hour.
Yeah, this
And
is
if
true.
you think that you should be paying more than whatever it would cost you to make the videos per hour, then find someone else to do it.
Yeah,
And like
agree.
that's the second thing that I think whether you're if you're a business owner, you should just audit your budget, because if you can't afford $20 for video editing, then there's something else wrong in the business. There's something else. There's somewhere else where you're spending money that's not the right place.
Yes.
And then if you're an individual, I'm fascinated by the idea of like that you don't want to spend that money on editing a video, but you're going to spend $100 at the bar on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by that as well. Yeah,
exactly. It's priorities. Like, what is important to you guys in life? And it's the same goes for time. Like, what are you spending your time on, right? So people are like, I don't have time in the day to post, right? Well, are you watching Netflix at night? You know, like there's certain things. It's like, how much time are you spending? And same with the money. So
on my calendar every day from 8:30 to 9 is blocked off to post on LinkedIn. Really? Every single day.
I love that. Yeah, I talk about that a lot with you guys too, who join me on these weekly lives, is time blocking and time management and making yourself do it, right? Like that's a big part of what I've been telling you guys for a while is you have to put it in your calendar. You can't just say in your head, oh, I'm going to do it, or it's never going to get done. You have to actually put that on your to-do list and put that on your calendar. So John wants to know if you do any non-video posts.
I do. I do primarily on Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay. So you're literally posting every day, even on the weekends?
People are very confused. People think that LinkedIn is a business platform that you use Monday through Friday, and they're very wrong. My best performing posts are always posted on Saturday or Sunday. That's awesome. The ones that get 1 million views are always posted on Saturday or Sunday.
Huh. Good to know.
And the reason that is because everyone has that assumption. Everyone says, "Oh, I should only post Monday through Friday." So when I post on Saturday and no one else is posting, there's no competition in the feed, so way more people see my post.
Okay.
And so that's the unlock. So yes, I've been doing that since October of last year. I don't hit every Saturday and Sunday. I try. I do my best. Like I don't beat myself up if I miss a Sunday. But yes, I try. And the reason that I post text on Saturday and Sundays is that for Monday through Friday, my videos are demonstrated for deep expertise. And then Saturday and Sunday, I focus more on career motivation, lessons learned, failures, things that are more general and broad for scale. So text posts get more reach, more scale. So on Saturday and Sunday, I'm posting for reach to acquire more organic followers. And then on Monday through Friday, I'm posting deep expertise knowledge to continue to build depth with the new people that I've acquired and the people that I've had before that.
Love it.
That's the approach that I have. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but it's been working for me.
It's working, right? So do you ever schedule LinkedIn posts, or do you manually, like every weekend, you're like actually going in and writing? You never schedule them. Okay.
Never scheduled a post. No.
Love it. Okay. So we tell people too. So Ryan, he posts every day, but for those people who can't post every day, are you saying, do you recommend, Chris, like a minimum of once a week, or what's your like kind of minimum for people to get started if they haven't really been leveraging LinkedIn much?
The minimum is do the best you can.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there really is no minimum. It's all dependent on what you're trying to accomplish and how much work you're willing to put in to accomplish it. Mm-hmm. And so if all you can do is one a month, then do one a month. Just know that you're going to get one a month's level of results.
Exactly.
Like what
Yes.
happens if you're training for a marathon and only go for a run once a month? Like maybe you don't finish the marathon.
Maybe you pass out at the
so,
mile marker.
so that's the way it goes. I think that if you're like really looking for a target to get started, the way that I teach people on how to get started is to actually start with comments, not posts,
Okay.
and try and leave 5 meaningful comments on other people's posts every day, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And to get into the exercise before you do it yourself. And to be honest, like the first 3 clients that I got from my company came from comments, not even posts. And that's how
awesome.
I knew that it was working. That's how I knew that it was working. And so would highly recommend to kind of like build that muscle to start with comments.
Yeah, I agree. And what's funny too is
meaningful comments, not
comments.
Congratulations, not I agree, not
or
this is
great
so
post.
great, not
yeah.
your eyes look great in that post, like none of that stuff. I really appreciate your perspective. However, what I've seen in this situation is actually X, Y, and Z happen. So I think that I would rather do it this. I think people should rather do it this way. That's a meaningful comment.
I love that. Yeah. What's interesting is I've actually written meaningful comments, and then I find myself going, "Well, hot damn, I should write. That should be a post, right?" So I'm like copying and
That's
pasting
how I
my
started.
comment. Yeah, and I'm like, I have a post right there. So, you guys, a couple of things learning here, right? Is if you don't have the time right now, or you're kind of nervous about posting, start commenting first. 5 comments a week that are meaningful, and I've talked about this in the past. Engagement, right? So make sure you're following people in your industry, following prospective clients, following the little influencers, micro influencers, and that you're part of the conversation, right? Is what Chris is talking about here. Making sure you're part of the conversation, and especially when you're posting on a post that lots of other people have seen and have been commenting on. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but you can get loads of followers just from leaving and exposure just from leaving an insightful comment. I mean, it's really powerful what that can do. And the more you do that, to Chris's point, that's also going to give you the confidence to be like, okay, so I've been leaving, these great comments for people. Now I think I've built up a little bit of confidence where I can go and start writing my own post. Or like I said, you can take those comments that you've been leaving and you can turn those into posts for yourself. So there's a lot that can be done there on the comment front. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, you mentioned the network thing that I think would be helpful to touch on for people, because honestly, this is the easiest and most overlooked component of doing LinkedIn completely, in my view, which is the idea that if you only have 300 connections, no matter how good your post is, not that many people are going to see it. If you only have 300 followers, then unless there's some like algorithmic shift where for some reason it gets a ton of traction, like you're very limited based on the number of connections or followers you have initially. Now, there's a way that you can proactively control that, which is that you can go and connect with people that would presumably like your content and ideally use the platform consistently, because the goal of them is to see your content, not just to be some customer that might be a customer that logs in once a year, because that doesn't benefit anybody. So if you're able to find those people and then connect with them, when you connect, that happens that they follow you and you follow them. And so when they follow you, when you post, they are more likely to see it. And so, I don't know what the limit is. It's nebulous to me, but I think somewhere between 50 and 100 a day. I'm at the beginning was at 50 a day.
Yeah,
50 a day that I would send out.
On some, it depends on how many you have, like how many followers you have. But we get cut off sometimes with LinkedIn when we're working with clients that have under 1,000 followers. Sometimes it'll barely let us do 50, if even that. So it depends. But okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, if you have a smaller following, you want to start getting going on LinkedIn, getting exposure, you shouldn't neglect the building new connections aspect of this either. So comment, engage with people, but also block off time to be sending those connection requests to relevant professionals. Correct? Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
It's a combination, right? I mean, you have to have, that's the thing. It's like, and the
content cool and people that see it.
Yeah, content and people, both. Right? Kind of need both. But the cool thing about posting content is people that aren't your first degree connections can see it too, right? So if I comment on Chris's video, it's going to show in my feed and to my friends or my connections that, Mandy McEwen commented on Chris Walker, and they might not be connected with Chris, but they might see my comments, and then their secondary connection, they're like, oh, this Chris guy is pretty awesome. I'm going to go follow him, right? So there's so many different, ways that you guys can increase your follow or your connections, if you will. And content is one of them. But yeah, it is very key to go out there and be proactive and not just wait for people to come to you and follow you, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to be engaging. You have to be sending those connection requests. You have to be engaging with the post and leaving comments as well. And so there's multiple, facets of success on LinkedIn. Okay, I have another question here. How often can we do mixed posts like video and non-video, or any other suggestions? I think that's up to you, Raul, on how much you want to do to mix it up, right? So for example, I try to, sometimes I don't even do a video a week. I try to do like one video a week and then 2 non-videos. But I think that all depends. Do you agree on what you can do, Chris?
It depends on what you're trying to accomplish, which way is better for you to communicate, and which way you feel is working better.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think there's like I believe that it's a testing phase. Like I didn't start posting 5 videos a week. I posted 1 video a week and saw that people liked it, and then noticed that more people were coming to me to have sales conversations when I was posting videos. And so I started posting more, you know what I mean? And so
exactly.
It's not like super scientific here, but I think you should try the ones that you feel comfortable doing and then follow what's working or what you feel better doing.
Yeah,
Ideally,
that's a good
both.
point. You guys always have to test, right? I mean, you never know until you actually test and get out there and do it. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here shortly because we are over the time, and I know Chris is incredibly busy, so thank you, Chris. But we do have a question here. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them, and we can
drop the
we
don't need to close out, by the way. So
okay,
cool. I blocked an hour, so if you want to answer a couple questions, I can do that.
Yeah, you guys leave comments, and we can go over those now. Leave questions. So someone says, I know you say don't try to track everything of your marketing, Chris, but how do you measure the success of your content?
Who asked the question? I must know them.
I know they must follow you, right?
Yeah.
Hayata Nakamura, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
So what was the question? Sorry,
the question was, you're saying you're fine. If you say don't track, if you say like don't worry about tracking everything, how do you measure the effectiveness of your content?
Qualitatively.
Okay.
So when I say don't track, just to clarify on this one, executives get stuck tracking things that show up in Salesforce. Yes. Most of the things that you do on LinkedIn will never show up in Salesforce.
Right.
And so that's really the key, is that's the problem that I'm attacking there, is that because they can't see it in Salesforce, they think that it doesn't work or that it's not working, and they're wrong. And so, but to clarify on this one, the way that I track it is qualitative. I can see from a number standpoint how many people are liking the post or how many people are commenting. Those numbers, I don't even really look at those numbers anymore. The things that I look at is who's commenting. Is it the CMO, or is it some random person in a country that I don't serve? So who is commenting? Are they tagging people? Like, I love when the head of sales tags the head of marketing.
Yes.
Says we should look at this. That's a valuable insight. When people come and have a initial conversation about working together, they say, I saw this LinkedIn post. It was really interesting about ABM. Would love to talk about how we could do that. That's a data point for me. When people send me messages and say that, that post about how the VC model is so broken was spot on, and the person who's sending it to me is a partner at a VC firm. I know that it's based on who are the people. Are the people that are, whether engaging in the post, sending you messages, coming to talk to you, are they the right people? Are they the people that you're going after? Is it resonating? Those are the ways that I measure it, which is hard for a lot of people to get over because it's more of a feel. Like, you actually have to be in the platform in order to feel it. And so that's why, again, like I really don't like the idea of outsourcing this stuff or having other people write it or having other people engage, because then you personally don't feel it.
Sure. And yeah, and that's how I know too, and even with clients, right? So it's the same thing as that Chris is saying. And it really is, we have to get this mentality out of their head that it's just like everything else. Like, you throw up a PPC ad and you instantly get all this data you can track, right? I mean, this is brand building is what we're doing here. It's for the long term, right? So this is a long-term process. It's not a sprint. It is a slow jog. It's a marathon, like we mentioned earlier, right? But hopefully a marathon.
Yeah, it also depends how you define like big or long.
Right.
It depends what your baseline is, and 2, how big your goals are and how fast you want to get there and whether or not they're realistic. But like we got 4 or 5 clients within the first couple months of doing this. And so like I push against, or I try and clarify the idea that it's long. Yes, you need to think long term. Yes, it gets better the more that you do it. And I can say that clearly because of what's happening to me right now. But the idea that like you're going to be, if you're doing this for 6 months and you don't have signs that it's working, whether people want to work with you, whether, you know, people are engaging with your posts, if you do it for 6 months and it's not working, then you might have to audit what you're doing.
I agree.
Like that should be an indicator. Yeah.
Completely.
Especially
Yeah,
where the platform is from a maturity level right now. Like the platform has been around for a long time, but as a content first platform hasn't. And the reach is so high, like you should feel the results within a rather short period of time if you do it well.
I agree. And that's really what I was going to say. And it's, you know, it is a long-term play for, you know, a growth, you know, a brand growth program, if you will, for the life of your company, right? But you will, and you should start seeing results rather quickly. So when, with me and with our clients, how you know it's working is you're getting messages, and people, like our clients will be like, I'm getting the most random text messages from people I haven't talked to in years saying how great my
Yep.
content is, right? Like that's a sign it's working. And that happens within literally like the first week or so that we work with clients typically, you know? So it's little things like that. And it's not necessarily like you mentioned, like Salesforce numbers, right? It's those little things, people engaging, people commenting, people reaching out, people that you haven't talked to in forever, messaging you, telling you, you know, that was great. It got me thinking, you know? So all of those things matter. And we have to get out of the mindset of, you know, everything is trackable with numbers and data, because there's just so much more that goes into it than that.
And when you try and track it, you do the wrong things. Couple easy examples. People need to be able to attribute the person to LinkedIn. And so what do? They build a bit.ly tracking link and then they put it in their post, and the post doesn't get seen because LinkedIn doesn't want links in the post.
Right.
And so in the pursuit of measurement, you do the wrong things, whether it's by using the platform in the wrong way, like putting links in it, or only posting about, you know, we helped X, Y, and Z do this. If you want some help, you can text me, like with some direct like sales CTA in order to measure it with like a tracking sales number. If some company wanted to get that complex, they would do something like that.
Yes.
The key is that if you're especially on organic social platforms, you will not be able to measure everything. Just the way that it works. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just,
and
you know,
it's not education. Necessary. It's not necessary to measure everything.
Yeah, I agree completely. So Danielle says your mic sounds great, Chris, and wants to know Danielle, what it is, what your tech setup is.
This is a blue Yeti caster with a boom arm.
Okay.
So it looks like
it does sound really good.
Looks like this. It works great. It's like $300-400. It's not expensive. And it makes a big difference. So I'd recommend it.
Okay, perfect. She says lighting too. I just use natural light. I actually have too much light coming in from my window right here. I have to shut my lights. So
I have like a little ring light right here. I'll post I've been planning on posting a LinkedIn story that has like all the details of all the things that I use. So I'll post that sometime this week.
That'd be helpful. Okay, awesome. Let's see. We'll wrap up here. A couple more. Thanks for that. Jason says links must be in a comment under the post, not the copy. Yeah, I agree, Jason. That's what we're talking about here. If you guys are going to post a link, leave it in the comments, not in the post itself, right? Okay.
And don't expect a lot of people to click on it when it's in the comments.
This is true too. Very, very good point. So I think we are good. So we're just going to do a quick little recap, you guys. So first of all, everyone say thanks to Chris for coming on here with me. This has been awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
A wealth of knowledge. So if we're, to wrap up how you guys can stand out from 99% of LinkedIn users individually, and even if you're a company, leverage the individual pages, obviously. So one is having clear goals, right? So the very first thing Chris said is you need to know who the hell you're going after. He didn't say hell, but I'm saying that. You need to know who you are going after, right? You have to be clear on who you're going after and what you're trying to accomplish. So your target audience, what their pain points are, what they're looking for, what keeps them up at night, right? The second thing is have clarity on, let's say, your profile and even your company profile. Does it make sense? Does it say what you do, right? Is it crystal clear? This is what you do and who you help. Does it speak to your target audience? And then the third thing is have a strategy for getting yourself out there. And we talked about a few different things. So one, engaging. So commenting on people's posts, leaving 5 comments a day, posting yourself, right? Videos, sending connection requests on a daily basis. So if you want to stand out from 99% of LinkedIn users, like we said early on, we could have just closed this right then, post content consistently, right? So post content, that's how you guys stand out. But there's so many other factors that are at play here, like making sure you have a growing following. And you do that by engaging and being part of the conversation and sending those connection requests. And consistency is key. We mentioned that, right? So the last point of this is you guys have got to be consistent, not just with posting content, but with engaging, with sending connection requests. Like Chris didn't, this didn't happen. Chris didn't build up his following to what? You have like 45,000 followers now or something crazy.
Something like that close.
Yeah. So that didn't happen because Chris just posted randomly every now and then, right? He has been super consistent and it's paid off tenfold for his company because of that consistency and that value that he has been bringing to his LinkedIn community. Okay. So anything else you want to add there, Chris, before we wrap up?
If you really want to accomplish something and you decide what that is, it could be to build your own business. It could be to get a better job. It could be to go from your in-house job to just being a contractor so that you can spend more time with your family. Like whatever it is, it's pretty much available by doing a lot of the things that we spelled out today, having a good strategy and executing a lot of the things that we talked about today. And so what you need to do is just reverse engineer what you're trying to accomplish first, and then start working at it. Yeah, but it's possible.
It is. Really, anything is. I mean, this is such an amazing opportunity right now on the LinkedIn platform. So no matter what you're trying to do in your life, LinkedIn is here for you.
Oh yeah.
So you guys, you can follow Chris on LinkedIn. Obviously, I tagged him in this, and I'm sure you've seen my post tagging him also. And you can also check out his awesome podcast, The State of Demand Gen. Right? That's the name. State of Demand Gen.
Yeah. Yeah, we just crossed into the top 100 marketing podcasts. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So go check it out.
Look at you. Anything else? Anything else that you want people
all
to
good.
do?
Appreciate all of you. Hope it was helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to shoot me a message on LinkedIn DM. We'll do my best to get to it and help you out.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Chris, so much. Thank you guys so much for joining and commenting. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you next week. Same place, same time. All right. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Chris.
everyone. See you later.
See ya.